grown men should know better than to date teenagers.
Yeah.
But I know you don't think that. You were doing it.
Oh, what a swing, baby, but you took it too far. You played butthole roulette, and you lost the draw.
Hi guys, for no good reason here. I'm gonna say up front, if you downvote this video, I'll understand. Today we're discussing Fluffle, aka Mixer Mike, aka Fluffle Mixer, and while I do have one solitary relevant screenshot, this is from Bayfish, who, as you can see here, B says there's 11.5-year age gap between the two. 3 months ago, Bayfish had her 18th birthday. That will be important for another reason later. As I've stated in the past, a certain member of the community said that he was a hebephile, and they recently denied this. But hey, that certain individual pursued Bayfish in the past, certainly before 3 months ago, but that's kind of an after the thought at this point. But we'll get back to that. So the Anon who provided me with this audio does state later on in the recording that he makes Bfish aware of this recording. It's concerning that B goes through this recording stating that several people did nothing wrong. We'll get to that in a minute. Maybe I misheard Bayfish saying that she thought Toon Critic did nothing wrong. In fact, I'm going to just let that go. I'm sure that was a mistake. The audio is a bit janky, but as concerning as that is, we can put that on the shelf for now for another time.
And now,
I'll be right back. Sorry.
as he goes to go tell Vita, like,
No, I'm gonna
behind the wall while
I'm
Vita
thinking,
does what?
no, I've been taping all of this. I'm gonna upload something actually.
Oh no!
Now, sadly, this didn't get taped. The Anon in question said that Bfish did say Vita knew about this and decided this was no one's business, that he opted to sit on this. The same Vita who, according to his videos at least, was interested in Bfish before she had turned 18. Here, let's take a look. This video here says 5 months ago. Now, that video was a response to a video I'd made, How Not to Brony 61. For if you left buttons alone, I'd be willing to ignore her cunty behavior. That this could all go away.
Did you seriously just admit to using Bfish's blackmail to get me to lay off your malicious girlfriend?
And yeah, Vita, I do know that Flufflepuff dumped her, and I do know that you're dating her.
Wait, we're dating? Jace, handle the video from here. I'm gonna go capitalize on that shit. Bfish, great news, we're dating.
fuck off, Vita. I'm not sleeping with you.
But Anthony says we're dating.
Paragon of truth!
I could care less.
Aww.
Vita?
I wasn't fooling around with Vita.
Okay.
Vita was flirting with me, sure, but...
What age were you when that was happening?
17.
17?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to
I
know.
was almost 18.
See that? This was before Bfish's 18th birthday. This is Vita lusting after a 17-year-old. Now, do I think that this is a massive stop the presses moment? Well, when I told people that Vita was into rape, I got dead silence. And then I proved it. And then I said that Vita was a hebephile, and I heard bullshit. Hebephilia includes 17 on down, which, by the way, when Mintheart ages up, don't be too shocked if Vita starts dating her by then. But we'll get to the definition of what an orbiter is in a bit. Now, I'm telling all of you that Vita knowingly covered up Flufflepuff and Bfish's relationship. Maybe after proving he's into rape and that he's a hebephile, maybe you'll take my word for it this time. 3rd time's the charm. After all, Vita got quiet about the first accusation and denied the second, but again, we have bigger fish to fry. Now, I did edit out a lot of crap of Bfish and some of her really Abercrombie and Finch Gap people just talking about drinks. It's a very milquetoast discussion. It's funny that the Anon who provided me with this information left his phone on the table in plain sight, unattended, on record, after telling them this, and no one did anything. By the by, Vita, without giving out names, the person who gave me this sweet, delicious audio, and as well as the person who edited, those being 2 different people, are both from Top of the Barrel. That's Vita's little treehouse on Discord. It's amazing how fast that people will turn on you when they find out that rape is one of your kinks.
And then there was this whole thing about foul play being the pedo, and they showed screenshots. It's completely obvious that the girl is trying to make it seem like he's a pedo. Like, there's literally a screenshot where he's like, you're not just doing this to expose me as a pedo, are you? Like,
Well, I don't know, like
she flirted the hell out with this guy and then sent the screenshots over to Vita, and now everyone's taking him out of chat. Like,
if it was my chat, I would I'd kick Foul and that girl out, and I wouldn't want that kind of trouble in my circle.
like, it's really...
Like, how is that different, though?
Foul wasn't doing anything wrong in my eyes. Like, she just started, like, intensely flirting with him.
Right, but, like,
I don't know.
Alright, if someone wants to flirt with you online, first thing you should ask is if they're of age, and then just to be safe, get a fucking screen cap.
Now, I want to talk about this for a moment. Dog Eye Crimson got me screenshots, edited, thank God, with Foul in his boxers that were, well, they weren't exactly clean. Now, I don't remember if I covered that in the video or videos or not, but considering this information came from Top of the Barrel, a room that B Fish is in, it would not have been unlikely that the people in the room would have been willing to grant her access to any or all of these. And sending porn to a minor, even in England, is illegal. I mean, it would have been one thing if Foul dropped the ball and accidentally, without thinking, had sent hentai to a friend. And maybe that friend's age had slipped their mind, but that's not what happened here. There were 3 girls, them being 16, 16, and 15. We talked to all 3. Foul refused to talk to either Limbo or Top of the Barrel. From what I had heard, he was willing to talk to those underage girls after he got busted. No one is happy to have caught Foul. That's been covered in 2 different videos, and if you or anyone else have any questions on that topic, by all means, comment down below. And why Anon in the call is saying you should ask for an ID, I'm not going to go that overboard, but I'd certainly understand why you would do that at this point. The only real issue, at least for me, is if someone hears a younger age and goes green light and steps on the gas instead of stepping on the brake. And in the Mintheart situation, Foul was kinda pushing and trying to ease his way in, and had Mintheart been 18, as opposed to her being 15, as long as she wasn't screaming for him to leave her alone, we wouldn't be here right now. That would have been between both of them. That would have been a private matter between 2 adults, but sadly it wasn't.
It's 10 years within that limit. Or within that age.
Right, no, I mean, clearly you guys are, totally cool with this idea. You're, using a much looser definition than I think the rest of the world is.
But
I had an issue where we were both me and my girlfriend a while back were both underage, and they only came after me.
But yeah, there was also an issue with another drama Brony, where Vita started claiming that he was a pedophile because he wasn't monitoring his server very well. And 15-year-olds were allowed to get into the NSFW.
Yeah, I heard about
Even
that.
though it's the same way in Vita's chat. Like, he doesn't even lock that room at all. You don't even have to ask for a pass in Vita's chat because it's just there.
So let's talk about this. The remark about Vita here goes back to One Winged Fusion. The rules in the chat being a bit loosey-goosey, Fusion as well as Vita have both presumably removed both of these elements from both of their Discord groups. The only issue was that Vita kicked Fusion and only took him back when I rubbed it in his face for gift wrapping me his apprentice. Not based on any moral grounds, Vita was wrong to cut Fusion off in the first place. But here we are.
And he would just, and so he started claiming that he was a pedo because he let 15-year-olds into NSFW.
Right, but you were a minor dating an adult, right?
Yeah, but he's not doing a video on us because, oh, she's my friend. I don't know what the reason is. I assume.
Well, what's the difference is what I'm asking.
Did you hear that? Vita is not doing a video on us. It is for thee, but not for me. It's a Tumblr law. It's also a Vita law. Let it never be said that Vita doesn't have standards. Most of the double variety.
That's,
None?
well,
Well, do you think it's unfair that the other guys got hit?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a double standard here that if they got hit, you should have gotten hit too? Not that you would want that, but like, are we talking about like objectively whether that is legal or not? Are we talking about whether you morally disagree with it or not? Or are we talking about whether there's a double standard in this fandom?
There's like, for me, I have a certain way that I look at things because there's a difference for if you are actually using children for this reason or if it's just, flirting.
Right, but a minor can't consent.
And here we are. I don't believe there's anything legally wrong with what B-Fish has done in this case. In all 50 states in the United States of America, to the best of my knowledge, a minor cannot get in trouble for this sort of thing, provided you're not sending nudes of yourself. You can look up your own state statutes, but I'm pretty sure across the US, it is likely anything under the age of 18 that will end up being some variety of child pornography. However, there is no mention of that. I'm just keeping everyone within the loop to the understanding of the law to the best of my knowledge. Not a lawyer, do your own legwork. In Flufflepuff's case, Flufflepuff lives in Pennsylvania. The age of consent to the best of my knowledge in that state is 16. The gentleman who gave me the info who said that the relationship started when B was 15. Could be wrong. You can read between the lines and infer what B-Fish means when she said I was under the age at the time. There's also the fact that when Vita used to tell me about B-Fish and Flufflepuff's relationship, he referred to it as being complicated. Now Vita isn't likely to clear things up here, certainly not honestly, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts. A couple of his friends will have less of an invested interest to make this go away and come forward. We'll see. But let's suppose Mike was dating B-Fish when she was 15. At best, at the very best, Mixer Mike, aka Flufflepuff, is what's called an orbiter. An orbiter is someone who hangs out with a girl till they are the legal age, kind of like a chicken sitting on an egg, waiting for it to hatch. This is, to the best of my knowledge, it is in fact not illegal. This, in and of itself, would not make Mixer Mike, aka Fluffle Mixer, a sexual predator under the law. However, again, I'm not a lawyer, do your own legwork. I am not a practicing doctor, I'm not going to do a piss poor job of looking up WebMD, and I'm not going to try and would likely come off as confirmation bias to prove what Mike is or isn't. I can't tell you medically what's going on in Mike's head, and it's doubtful that a doctor would be able to do so without talking to Mike firsthand. That said, based off of B-Fish's wording, which, let's keep in mind, may well have been inhibited by drinking, and if that's the case, shame on the restaurant that served her drinks. She wasn't 21, and she potentially wasn't even 18 at the time of this recording. Maybe it was late in the day, maybe B-Fish was really having a blonde moment. Maybe it's possible that Flufflepuff wanted to keep B-Fish a secret because maybe B-Fish had a habit of saying the wrong thing. However, Mike, on the other hand, here's a post from Flufflepuff from Horse News. You know, the same Flufflepuff who said he lost his taste for the fandom. It's also possible that Flufflepuff headed for the hills because he knew some of the things he did do weren't exactly kosher. Fluffle Mixer, December 14th, 2016. Now that is a while ago. I've always kept quiet to avoid being sucked in, but I don't care anymore. Just within the past months, I've seen people I've highly respected turned on to be liars and cheaters. The people in this fandom are socially awkward, to say the least. A lot of these people never had friends before MLP, myself included, and now they're known by the name all around the world. It should be obvious that it would go straight to their ego. Attention has become more valuable than money, and a lot of these people will do anything for it. Lie, cheat, trace, use other shortcuts possible to get there as fast as they can. Horse fame corrupts people, and that is coming from personal experience. In the beginning, I didn't care about anything except for followers, but after a while, I started seeing how popularity corrupted others, and how much I had in common with them. I had started seeing myself insult and hurt people over the most trivial things. I left behind a popular blog to move on to something that I enjoyed more than popularity. It was only by chance that most people liked it, but thanks to that first blog, I appreciate my fans now, and I know I'm far from perfect, and you can be rather callous and cynical. But the least I can do is to try my best not to be a shitlord to children, and try to be a better example. I feel like I've learned a lesson from my popularity. I'm an adult, and I should act like it. Sadly, I doubt that can be said about many others that have reached the higher levels of popularity. KP being one of those prime examples that made me realize how corrupt people can become, and has used many ways to shortcut her way to where she is. And these groveling weak people aren't much different. That Anon KP Lynx had so much of my respect, and to see him like this, speaking in such a weak voice and taking back everything, even the things that were blatantly obvious, is just pathetic. No one wants to fight against the current, no matter how corrupt it is, because it means losing popularity and attention, and because of that, I can only assume these people were found out and know, and now they don't want to lose what little popularity they have. This is a case of them running back to the only thing they think gets them attention. No different than someone running back to an abusive relationship because it's the only thing they had. I don't think much will change from this, though barely anything has changed at all in these years. Just look at the poster. I'm sure a lot of you know the names and have seen them everywhere, time and again. But I'm also sure plenty of you don't know what they truly do as content creators. I barely know any of them myself, but I do know plenty of content creators that do much more and have hard work than these people will ever do. And I never see them parading themselves around like this. KP and her little gang are simply attention whores, and they will continue to abuse their fans for their attention until their fan base completely dies, and they will finally learn the value of appreciation. But despite if any of this changes, I have always supported trying to help clean up the fandom. That's interesting. I've never talked to you, Mike, nor of any of my other rival factions. You've never come forward to help in any way, shape, or form, nor made any statements. This statement was made on Horse News of all places, so I find that slightly dubious at least. I won't overreach on that. Let's continue. I may not watch the show much anymore, but I still hold it very close to my heart. These past few years have easily been the happiest of my life, and it hurts to see such a good spirited thing be tainted by ego, bloated attention whores. I'm not one to advertise drama onto my fans, but if you ever wanted to see the fandom from this seat, I have. I would not mind at all to share what I have seen over the years. Funny you should say that, Mike, because I would like to see that. I would also like a response to this video. I think you have a couple of things that you should address. We'll get back to that. Continuing on. I don't mean you're into weird shit, Mike. I've been told that canonically your OC is a hermaphrodite, and I don't care. Oddly enough, I think that was from your girlfriend. I'm not here to kink shame you. I've been told that Doodle Tones is into diapers. I've been told that Kichi is into military guys. So if you made your OC a chick with a dick, that's your business. If you did hover around B-Fish 2 to 3 years ago and dumped her every time that you got spooked that someone found out that you were dating a kid, wow, that sounds a lot worse when you say it out loud. You know what, Mike? I'm not going to win any awards for Boyfriend of the Year, so I'll tell you what. You come out right here, right now. You tell me and the rest of the world that you did nothing illegal, and we can be done.
Plus there's 16 in some states, like in Utah. Yeah, there's like.
Alright, so that's the legal argument then. So then legally you say everything's cool then.
Yeah. And there's like there's also the definition of a pedo isn't underage.
No, I understand that. And I'm not. What seems to be the problem in this fandom is teenage girls and guys wanting to flirt with dudes older than them.
There's also the whole problem, like, what's really getting on my nerves, the reason why I distanced myself is because the Toon thing happened and then everyone blew up. Like, these people who, like, you know, wouldn't have gotten hit before because it was such a minor thing. Like,
Is it?
well, I'm saying it was before. I'm saying, like, if it was one incident with one guy, no one would have made a video on him beforehand until Toon Critic happened. And now, one incident and you're...
Alright, there had to be a first domino to fall, but, like, if this fandom is going to be able to police itself and set a standard and not have double standards, like, what do we think is right and wrong in this situation? I don't think grown men should be dating teenagers, but that's just my opinion.
Like, I do agree that Toon Critic did something wrong. It was because he was actually grooming...
Okay, here's the thing about Toon Critic. If Toon Critic hadn't run his course in this fandom, and people weren't tired of his shtick anyway, he would still be online in chat rooms fucking around with kids. Okay? Like, the reason it came out to everyone in the fandom is because his influence had run its course, and it was time to clean house and get some of the old guard out.
I'm gonna speak up here. I like that fairy tale too, but I'm a bit ways off from saying that's true. Toon's influence, till the inner circle turned on him, had only ever waned as far as well as I could tell myself, and maybe BabsCon. But I'd like to at least be able to take a 1 week's break without talking about fucking BabsCon. Pretty please. Update about BabsCon. Jay Moore, as of Wednesday, June 20th, one day after my video went up on the topic, is no longer banned from Babs. I'm sure that's completely coincidental. After 3 fucking months of BabsCon ignoring Jay Moore, I had nothing to do with it. But in all seriousness, congrats to Jay Moore. Please don't give me any reason to regret having back on this one. I had to be in a call with ZD, that I've been going eye for an eye, tooth and nail with, and we are getting along yet again, and it's been 2 days, knock on wood. I guess that's partially because of you, so thank you. I will be making that call publicly later. Sorry for the distraction. Let's continue on.
Now, you want to talk about, like, and that's where the double standard argument comes up. If we're not going to have a double standard in this fandom and say, well, he was a horse famous person that we wanted out of here, and that's the only reason why it happened to him. Like, then you've opened up this can of worms where you're talking about something like, yeah, I guess we're okay with this kind of stuff, but...
It's basically turned into this thing where it's like, it's turned into this thing where if you don't want someone in the Brony fandom, then you can just call them a pedo and everyone will...
No. Call them a pedo if they were dating an underage person.
Yeah, but there are people...
It's not a witch hunt.
There are people that, like, with Anthony's videos, it's like if he wants someone out, he will immediately call them a pedo.
I feel like I'm in one of Anthony's videos right now.
Funny story? You totally are. Again, outside of this Spoctor Theory situation, some guy I never even knew about or met, much less heard of before the allegations dropped, and again, I really only seriously condemned the man after he confessed, only to have that proven wrong later. I've generally been prepared to talk to a lot of people. I've talked to performance majors friends, I've talked to Dusky Novels people, I believe. I am friends with Dark Edge's friends as well as Toons. Some more than others after the fact. Now, if you're talking about accusations thrown around, Vita did try to get Pastel Pro's Dulcet Tones and myself for being a pedophile, which oddly enough never covered Dark Edge. He never covered this. Until this day, never made a video on the director or Keyblade Pony, despite the fact that Vita had more dirt on either of those guys, and he withheld all of it. In the director's case, it was to protect Mintheart because she didn't want it out there, only to ignore the victim's wishes when Toon Critic came forward. That doesn't seem to have any level of consistency other than Vita wants to nail B-Fish. And who knows, maybe old B has something on Vita, and maybe that's why he's shutting his goddamn mouth.
But you get what I mean, right? Like, people can use this for whatever they want. And
Right, but if the facts are there, then it's not unsubstantiated. Then you're not talking about a witch hunt or just call a witch hunt. Okay, a witch hunt. We're talking about like being able to say like, we just didn't like that these women over here were doing something that these people couldn't control, so we called them witches in order to execute them. They didn't actually do anything. or even if they were practicing witchcraft. We just don't like witchcraft.
Yeah.
But grown men should know better than to date teenagers.
Yeah.
But I know you don't think that. You were doing it.
I kinda don't know why you thought this was funny, B. Sadly, legally, you're an adult. I'm not gonna police wrong-think in your case. And yeah, I know love is a powerful thing, and I know you can curb and push back what's wrong to some degree because you really love someone. I got it. But if you keep this up, a lot of people are gonna start calling you a thought.
I realized that it was also a stupid decision, but I can't exactly change it now.
Yeah.
And I'm in a happy relationship, so what would be the point of breaking
Right,
it
no,
off?
and you're old enough now, so you know what's in the past is in the past, right?
Are you still with the same dude? Yeah. Been with him for 3 years.
So yeah, there we are. Mike, did you leave the fandom because how dare anyone tell you that not to date someone who's a teenager? Dear Mike, I'm going to keep a close eye on you, in Brony or not. And to be fair, here's the bad news, bad news. If you end up dumping Bayfish as a result of this, you're gonna look like a scumbag. And I better not find out that you're dating another teenager if and when that happens, because we'll be right back here immediately. On the other hand, if you continue dating B-Fish, people are gonna roast the fuck out of you, and, like, if somehow you were maneuvered or manipulated by some crafty, manipulative person that took advantage of you being introverted, yeah, that sounds really weak. On the other hand, if you came out and said, I never dated B-Fish, I will never date B-Fish, she's a crazy stalker, I mean, that would be a pretty hard sell. But at this point, anything's possible. I'm prepared to have a rational discussion. I can give you all my questions in advance, no gotcha bullshit, so we can all sit down and talk like adults. Because right now, this looks and sounds pretty bad.